Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Fosens Tube. I'm sure you're wondering why we have all these Ghana colors here. There's green, there's red, there's yellow.
Well, today we have a special guest joining us and she's going to be talking to us about food. So stay tuned.
So today we have Michelle here. Michelle, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Of course. My name is Dr. Michelle Kwok, and I'm a resident in internal medicine at McGill University.
Awesome. Right. So, as you said, we're talking about food and we just want to go right into the question. So, what is the importance of food in terms of like health and general well-being?
Well, in my field, we treat a lot of preventable, non-communicable diseases. For example, high blood pressure, heart attacks, stroke, cholesterol. All these things are entirely preventable because of the poor diet that we as in the industrialized world have gotten ourselves into.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, when you say all these things are preventable, what do you mean? You explain it to the layperson.
Yeah, so heart attacks is like one of the major number one killers in North America.
Wow.
And where does this come from? It's like it's a myriad called the metabolic syndrome. The risk factors: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and over many years. And how this happens? A heart attack is basically when a piece of a clot in your heart artery gets blocked, and then your heart is no longer able to get the oxygen in the blood that it needs. How does this happen? Over many, many years of poor lifestyle factors causing lipid buildup into your blood vessels so that they're very narrowed. There's a lot of inflammation that causes even more buildup of plaque around it. You have high blood pressure that makes your blood vessels a lot hardened. A lot of salt that causes blood pressure. Diabetes causes a lot of inflammation inside of your heart, your vessels, even infections in your foot. All of these, where does it come from? Poor diet. But these are diseases that many people 50, 100 years ago never really had to deal with.
Yeah.
And why? It's because our diet is quite bad.
Oh, so too much salt is no good?
No, I mean, obviously we need a little bit of salt to function, but the amount of salt that we're eating in our diet is way, way, way more than what our bodies were designed to handle.
Yeah, I asked you about this because talking about salt, I'm reminded of the Ghana Maggi. Almost every Ghanaian use Maggi in their cooking, and I feel like it's filled with sodium. So
Exactly.
That's why I asked.
Now, I'm just wondering, did your grandmother have Maggi when she was growing up, or maybe your great-grandmother?
No.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, we had natural flavors to bring up food, but then, the Maggi cube, it's full of MSG, it's full of salt, and these things have manipulated our taste buds. It's almost like a shortcut towards making food that tastes good, but it's actually not that great for you.
Well, this is a big issue because we know in Ghana, Maggi is
It's
like
a big
number
issue.
one flavoring ingredient.
I'm telling you.
And a lot of us have grown used to eating it in
Maggi.
food. So how do we go about, what are some of the alternatives if we are to go away from some of these Maggi cubes and MSG laden ingredients?
Exactly. How do I cook my jollof without Maggi? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, maybe for the first thing, you should ask your grandmother or your great-grandmother how they used to do back in the day. But I think salt is a poor substitute for, poor flavor. Back in the day, we had a lot of spices that were naturally ground, and the quality of the spice and the ingredients we have are not like what they used to be. For example, the banana, in Canada, it looks like a banana.
Yeah.
It feels like a banana, but it doesn't taste like much.
Yeah.
But whereas when you go back to bananas that were grown naturally in a traditional home, even a banana back in Ghana, you eat it and there's cream and vanilla and butter inside your mouth. These things a Maggi cube tries to replicate, but it can't.
Yes, interesting that you mentioned Ghana because I know you visited Ghana a number of times. You've stayed in Australia, you live in Canada. So what are some of the differences in the quality and the taste of food in all these places?
Well, for one, I find that the food grown in Australia or Ghana, they have a lot of natural taste to it. For example, I was talking about the bananas. It tastes like a real banana. There's cream, there's vanilla, there's butter. Over here, the bananas, it looks like a banana.
Yeah.
It feels like a banana, but I can't taste much. And I think that is why we have to add so much sugar and so much salt to make up for what we're lacking. And even Australia, for example, the milk, it's wonderful. It's creamy, it's rich, it's luscious. Over here, I find in Canada and America, the majority of milk, it's this white liquid. And I feel that because of that, the quality of it, you know, your body is going to be wired to get that satisfaction from somewhere else. So either you overconsume, or you just look towards things that are not good, like unnatural sweeteners, flavorings, things that your body was never designed to handle. And I really think that that is one of the root causes of why we have obesity and overeating today.
Why do we have so much processed food and all these added sugars in the food that we find, especially in North America? Because I realize people come from, like immigrants come from other countries over here, and some of them take up eating some of these foods, and it tells badly on their health. Why do we have so much processed foods over here?
Well, this is a very complex question, and it goes back to the food industry and some of the things that have happened over there, but it's also the psychology. Because when you talk about health, food has a major thing to do with it, but there's also psychological, there's social. And when there's a study done on immigrants that came to Canada, and they could have come from any country, they were, on average, had better health than the Canadian that was born here and lived here. But 10 years later, they were worse. And it's very interesting to find out why. And part of it is because of the processed food intake, but the other part is because they've lost the other things that contribute to health. Like when immigrants come to Canada, for example, they lose their extended family, they lose their community. Sometimes they're in a language that they don't really understand well, and they don't have the ability to walk long distances except for exercise. So they're isolated or lonely at home, and you have a fridge full of food. But at the same time, you have a lot of food availabilities that were not back in their home country. Like there's a lot more meat, a lot more dairy, and the processed foods, let's be honest, they're cheaper than buying fresh foods, and they last longer. But why there's so much processed foods, I think goes back to what the industry have done in Canada and America and many industrialized countries over decades. You know, for example, corn is the biggest crop in America for sugar, soybeans for oil. These are things that were not meant to be consumed. Like back in the day, you know, in Ghana, where did you get your sugar from? Like from the sugar cane.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sugar cane, yeah.
And even in China, like I've had so many people, like children just chewing on sugar cane. It's like honey to their mouths. I have never seen a kid do that here. They take a lollipop.
I've never seen sugar cane here.
No.
Have you seen any?
No, I've never seen
sugar cane here.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
When you talk about how immigrants' health kind of deteriorates when we come here. And yeah, that's true, because when the foods that we are used to eating back home, when we come here, we don't see them, but we rather go into the store and we see all this meat and chicken and pork and bacon and ham, and it's like so cheap, right? You could get like a whole Costco chicken for less than $10, and you could eat all of it up. And
I know.
Yeah, it's like it becomes kind of like an attraction, and all the chocolates and the sweets and the cookies. And yeah, I think that is one of the challenges that we have, is staying disciplined and not kind of falling victim to just eating this because it's so cheap and it's so available. So I think that's a real challenge that many of us should be careful to watch against. It's
a real challenge, but also it's because food becomes a comfort when you've lost your community. And like even look at coronavirus and how there's the COVID-19, like the 19 pounds that you gained in your quarantine.
19 pounds?
Yeah.
Wow, 19 pounds in quarantine.
So wow.
19 pounds from COVID-19.
Exactly.
Who is gaining 19 pounds? No way.
Comment below.
Yeah, if you gain 19 pounds, comment below.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But I mean, also like back to even Ghanaian foods, right? Back home, like what did your grandmother do? Like if she wanted food, she would, like someone have to pound it.
Yeah.
By the time you finish, like you burnt all the calories you've eaten.
Actually, Michelle, I was going to ask you about the Ghana food, because I feel like it's filled with carbohydrates. Like when we talk about fufu and banku and kenke and yam. And yam, right?
Yeah.
Yam is my favorite food, guys. Most Ghanaians would eat this, and even some Ghanaians will eat this late into the night. What do you think about it? Or do you think that it's still okay? Because when I talk to you always, I feel like you really love Ghana food and you think everything we eat in Ghana is excellent, and I mean you've become a Ghanaian. So I just want your take on the heavy like carbohydrates and stuff like. What do you think? Do you think it's still good?
The problem is we in our industrialized society has taken everything out of context. Back in the day, like food was more scarce. If you are hungry, you eat and then you burnt it off because of all the labor you had to do. Now you can eat, you can microwave for fufu, then you just sit in front of TV and you sleep. Of course, it's going to go here. Yeah, but going back to the high carbohydrate foods, I think one of the biggest mistakes that the American diet industry had in the past was they say that carbohydrate is the enemy. Yes. Because carbohydrates are good for you, but it's what type. And the determining factor for me is the amount of fiber. Like let's say if you eat yam, the yam, like when you boil the yam, for example, it soaks up a lot of water. There's a lot of fiber. You'll be full.
Yes.
But now, like compare a yam and let's say French fries. You can eat a whole bowl of French fries. And you will still be hungry because you know there's no satisfaction. But then carbohydrates also include stuff like beans, even these vegetables. Like if you look at it, it's mostly carbohydrates and water. Those things are good for you. They fill you up, they make you feel good, and they sustain you over many, many hours. And I believe that is how God designed our bodies to run. If you look at in Song of Solomon, for example, you know, what did it say? Sustain me with cakes of raisins and figs because I'm lovesick. They're running carbohydrates and sugar.
I love it.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, you know, should people advocate that we should go 100% on a plant-based diet, we shouldn't eat meat?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
What do you think about that, honestly?
Yeah. Now it depends on why you're doing this. Because everything is, like, you know, the word says everything's permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And yes, and the thing is, we have so many reasons why perhaps we should go vegan. For example, God gave Adam dominion over the earth. He gave them charge over the animals, and the Bible said, you know, the animals had fear of man. Why? Because they're going to kill them for food. But I think we have done a very bad job, to be honest, of taking charge of the earth. Look at how we are, our farming practices are rather inhumane. I'm not saying all of them, but like the factory farms and what they're doing to the cattle, the sheep, the chickens, they're force-fed in cages. If you looked at it, I'm not sure if you really want to eat meat again. But then to say, let's go 100% vegan, I don't think is the answer either. It depends on your conscience. Because for some people, they go vegan because of conscience reasons, but then the Lord clearly gave Noah animals to eat. He even went so far to say which are clean and which are unclean before they went on the ark. How did he know? Because he ate meat. But I really do think that there is a benefit. Look at Daniel. Like, he went more than vegan. He went on a fast. He said, you know, like the fruits and vegetables and that grow. And then he did another 21-day fast where he said, you know, give me the pulses, the grains. So our modern interpretation means like no processed foods, no like only whole wheat, unleavened bread, you know, grains, beans. And I believe they have their place because many of the things that we eat, especially in our industrialized processed foods, these toxins build up in our bodies and they cause harmful effects. Like sometimes people can't think, they can't concentrate well, they break out into acne, they have a lot of diseases. Like even certain cancers, if you think of it, were caused by chemical exposures from things that they ingested. And doing things like the Daniel fast helps you to cleanse. The problem with 100% vegan and this kind of restrictive diet, I know that the Bible said that, you know, Daniel and his mates were much healthier, but there's a supernatural element to it. But if you do it as a diet, there are certain nutrients that people lack, and one of the biggest examples is vitamin B12, and that's why you have to supplement. So the bottom line is the Bible doesn't say you should do this or that. It says go according to your conscience, and I believe the Holy Spirit has a say. He can tell you, you know, you should go on this fast now, and in other times of feasting, like Jesus, he talked about the Passover lamb. Jesus himself cooked fish for his disciples. And then in another part, you know, Paul tells Timothy you should have a bit of wine because of your health.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, Michelle, this is so educative. Like, I mean, I can pick on a number of things to ask you. So, are you saying that maybe moderation is key? Because personally, what I do is I try to do the Daniel fast, not just for health reasons, but spiritual reasons. And I use it to kind of like cleanse my system, like on a quarterly basis. And what I find is anytime I do that 21-day fast, I feel stronger. I don't know, like I feel healthier. I feel more energetic. And that's why sometimes I'm like, well, maybe this thing about going vegan is really the key. And that's why I even asked you that question, right?
Yes.
So I think, would you say people should be moderate about it and sometimes go on kind of like a detox or something, use it as a spiritual exercise, or what do you think?
Well, the truth is, even secular people have picked up on this.
Yeah.
But it goes back to everyone is on a different journey. Like, for example, if you told like someone who is very, very thin and almost emaciated to go on a Daniel fast, you know, that is not the right thing to say. You know, the most important thing is to see where you're at and to ask the Holy Spirit, like, do I need to go on a fast and a cleansing? Because you definitely have your place. But then sometimes people go too far and they say, you know, food is my religion. And in fact, there's even a mental disorder called orthodoxia, where they are fearful of eating foods that are unhealthy. And it, you know, causes a lot of social strain. Like, they might even avoid appointments, you know, miss birthday parties because they're afraid of the food that is going to be served is like not within their rounds of what is healthy food.
Wow.
So yes,
this is so educational.
and the bottom line is the Holy Spirit tells you not to judge. If someone does something, then don't act in a way that causes them to stumble. And don't, you know, if someone says that they don't eat meat, then let them not eat meat. But if someone else eats meat, like, you know, the Holy Spirit revealed to Peter all these animals, and Peter said, I cannot eat them, they're unclean. And he said, no, I gave them for you as food to eat. So that's why I believe as Christians, we have a divine advantage. The Holy Spirit can be very instructional in telling you what to eat, what not to eat, when it's fasting, when it's feasting.
Right.
Awesome. You know, one thing that I wanted to ask you also about the Ghanaian foods and the way that we eat is, it's interesting that a lot of times Western food is glorified and seen as that is food for the elite, you know,
I love this
the pizza,
I love
the hamburgers,
I love where you're going.
the hot dogs, and all those kind of
and
things.
And they talk about Ghana, the way you see pizza in Ghana, it's such a big deal. Like if you're in Ghana and you say you're going to get a burger, it's like you are rich or something, or fries.
Yeah, it seems to be associated with a certain class
of people.
So that in society, but actually, some of the local foods are the healthiest.
Exactly.
The greens, we have a lot of greens, you know, contemporary, stew.
If you eat contemporary in Ghana, means you probably you don't have money.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of value in realizing that those foods are some of the most nutritious. You know, our green soups, our green stews.
Yeah, I remember that green soup.
Yeah, those are some of the healthiest foods that you can get. Fresh fruits. Tomatoes and the onions and so much variety. So just to say that, you know what, don't worry if you are not able to get the pizzas and the burgers. You are good. You would actually live a healthier life without them than with them.
Yeah,
right?
because here pizza is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying: if it grew on a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Yeah.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, but I mean, that it's a tragedy because fast food back in the day is a treat. It's not food. And what is amazing is that God designed a human body to be able to handle a lot of many different traditional diets. For example, in Ghana, like you have a lot of carbohydrates, right? You have the food and yam, you have all these heavy stews and palm oil. But then in other parts of the world, like, you know, more nomadic places, they live off cows and goats, they drink their meat, they eat the cheese. And then you have the Eskimos, or the Inuit, there's nothing green that grows in their land. Do they have nutritional deficiencies? No. And yet, in every one of these environments, these people function perfectly well. Then you take in the modern American diet. You know, the hamburger, the fast food, the spaghetti,
the
and
steak.
Then all of a sudden, like these preventable health diseases, these people are dying before their time because of these poor dietary choices that they think are are luxuries, but actually are harming themselves.
Yeah.
So my advice
Wow.
is, if you want to eat healthy, ask your grandmother what they ate. And
Ask your grandmother what they ate,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Ask your grandmother.
Yeah, and then one other question is oils, because I think we were discussing earlier, and I was telling you how Ghanaians, we cook with a lot of oil.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the healthy choices that we can make in terms of the oil that we use for our food?
Oh my goodness, oil has become so demonized in today's society. We've gone from many diets, like, the low-fat diet, which is very high in sugar. Then you say, keto, carbohydrates are an enemy. Let's increase our oil. Of course, it's confusing.
Yeah.
And then you have the types of oils. Like we have, in Ghana, I know you use a lot of palm oil.
Palm
Yes.
oil.
And then in the modern world, we have completely destroyed that. We have the hydrogenated palm oil, which will completely clog up your arteries.
Vegetable oil. We call it vegetable oil,
Yeah.
but it's actually palm oil that has been like bleached and hydrogenated and like denatured.
Yes.
And that is vegetable oil.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
lots of people use vegetable
Oh
oil.
yeah, it's
to
so
cook
common in
with that.
Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like, there are many vegetable oils that they were not supposed to have oils. Like, back in the Bible, what did they use? Olive oil. Why?
Right,
Because when you
right.
press the olive, the oil comes out.
Right.
Now we have stuff like, soybean oil, canola oil. Like, back in the day, these things don't exist. It's the machines that crush them and artificially process them.
Right.
I really believe that, first of all, the oils they have need to be natural. And
Okay.
palm oil, yes, it's saturated fat, and maybe too much of it is not good for you. But let's face it, it has beta carotene, which is a very essential nutrient for the body, and we do need some level of saturated fats. Why? Because they produce lipids. And lipids, our body need cholesterol, for example, to make
Right.
sexual hormones.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I would say is, again, it's moderation. Like, don't pour your oil into your food. Just a little bit for the flavoring.
I love the way you did it. Don't pour your oil. Michelle, why are you like this?
Then don't let the oil be swimming
Yeah.
like Labadi Beach on your stew.
We want our oil to swim. I want your opinion though on grapeseed oil. Do you think it's good? Because I read somewhere that it's good. Kweku likes coconut oil. I like to use grapeseed oil. So what do you think about grapeseed oil?
Well, I mean, again, grapeseed, it's this small. Like,
Yeah.
again, it's something that we in modern humanity have used. I'll say it's not, all oil should not be taken too much.
Okay.
But grapeseed oil, the benefits of it is that you can fry things in it, and it doesn't have a
Yes.
very high smoke point.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So
It doesn't smoke
yes.
easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
prefer that towards something like, vegetable oil,
Oil.
like soybean oil, canola oil.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, like, just minimum.
So moderation.
Yes.
Moderation, guys.
Yes. And it's
Moderation.
moderation. And if you think of it, 1 tablespoon of oil has 140 calories.
Wow.
How many cucumbers would that be? Or even apples? You would eat, by the time you ate like 140 calories worth of apples, you would be full.
Yeah. That's
140
true.
calories of oil, you drink it and you wonder where's the next.
Wait. Say that again. Did you say 1 tablespoon
Yes.
of oil has 140 calories?
Yes.
Michelle.
Wow.
This much.
Michelle,
Wow.
in Ghana, or is this a Ghana slogan or Nigerian? I can't come and kill myself. Like we just eat. I can't kill myself. That's what we will tell you if we don't want to change something. So as you were talking, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't kill myself.
Yeah, but I think if we all want to live healthy lives, these are things that we should take seriously and
Right.
Of course.
Yeah,
proactive
on a
measures
serious
that we
note.
should take in terms of the things that we eat, our diet, even how we cook our food, and to ensure that we are not taking out the nutrients by the way we are cooking them, overcooking them, that kind of thing. So
But and also, this is a very unfortunate fact of today's society. We need to be educated to know what kind of food choices are good. Whereas our grandmothers, they never had to worry about that. The food they ate was natural. The chickens that they grew ran around and they ate grains.
Yeah. I told
Now-
you my mom reared chickens. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
nowadays, like, you have to research where did chicken come from, what were they fed, the practices. By the time you're done, like,
you're drained.
just
Yeah.
forget it.
And
Just
all
eat something
the
else.
all the injections the
Yeah.
chickens
Oh
get.
my goodness.
And then you have
Yeah.
to go to the farm, you have to pay a premium for this chicken.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Guys, when you see chickens running about freely and that is the chicken you are eating, that is the best chicken you can get. not the factory,
Yeah.
factory fed or what? Factory grown chicken.
Yeah,
my
it's interesting.
goodness.
When I was
Yeah.
growing up, I was so used to the local chicken. I thought it's too hard. I wanted the factory grown chickens. Yeah, so Christmas time we get the factory grown chickens and we're happy.
Let me tell you a secret. Those factory-grown chickens, they are in a cage the size of the chicken. They do no exercises. Sometimes they're fed foods that are not meant for chickens. Sometimes they're given hormones.
Yeah.
And then, in some places in America, they put the chicken meat in the salt water before they sell it in the grocery store. Why? Number one, it weighs more. Number two, because the salt water breaks down the meat and it's more tender. That's why your chicken, yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you buy the chicken and it feels so heavy, you know, like I wonder what kind of chicken is this? Like it really feels heavy.
And if you think of it, like the chicken the factory chicken, you cook it a little bit and then it's soft.
Yeah.
Your homegrown chicken, you stew it, it's still chewy.
It's still chewy. Yeah.
And then another word about meat, please, moderation. Back in the day, people were not able to afford so much meat. Like every single day, twice a day. Like back at least in my background in China, the meat was just like the little flavoring for your vegetables.
Right.
But now people can like eat a whole chicken. I mean, literally, people can decide to eat a whole chicken every day if they choose to do so.
I'm telling you, and people can eat and eat and eat. And this guy right here, when I chew just 2 drumsticks, he will be like, "That is too much. You should chew one." I'm like, you know what? I can't kill myself.
Yeah, moderation is key.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very interesting discussion that we've had today. Any further?
Yeah, I
questions?
wanted you to touch on the role of exercise
of course.
in achieving a healthy lifestyle.
Right. You know, I feel like our world has just taken diet and exercises to the extreme. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Right.
And the problem with the fallacy of diets is that it's all about control.
Okay.
God didn't design for us to be controlled. He designed for us to live freely. You know, back in the day, Adam and Eve, they exercised because they're so busy tending the flocks and the gardens and running around. And now exercise becomes this chore. You sit in front of a screen and you have some fitness instructor yelling at you to do this number of reps.
Really?
Yeah.
Yelling at you? My goodness. Yeah.
No, I think the number one part about exercise that people forget is that it's supposed to be fun and even social.
Yeah.
I feel that like when you're out and just moving, like, and you don't even have to be pumping up iron. Like you can just be walking around, like just like every time you sit down, you get up and stretch for 5 minutes, like every hour. Like it's about movement, and by doing that, your metabolism is maintained, and you enjoy yourself, and you lose track. And that is how our bodies were designed to function.
Wow. To always keep on moving.
Yeah, just keep on moving. It doesn't have to be heavy. You just enjoy yourself. And that's why I really believe that brain and body and soul, they're all connected. Like you can't just say, I will eat my way out of preventable diseases.
Right.
It will only take you so far. You need social support, you need mental health, you need to enjoy life, move, and even doing things that you enjoy. Because then you can take your mind off food. And as I said before, a lot of times people overeat because they're just unhappy or they're bored.
Like people are depressed, and especially in winter when you're not able to do much outside, people tend to eat a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think this has been a very interesting session. Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Kwok, for coming to share your thoughts and answer our questions. So, thank you very much for joining us on this episode talking about food and how you can live a healthier lifestyle. Remember, in summary, you are what you eat. So if you want to live a better life, make sure that you make better choices in terms of what you eat. Live a healthier life, incorporate exercise and movement into your daily routine. And I'm sure that the benefits would be reaped by you and you would enjoy life to the fullest. So we come your way with another episode. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the channel.
And
share it with your friends.
Alright,
Alright, so we see you again. It's bye.